The US State Department has ended the waiver on the Chabahar sanctions. It is at the same time targeting Iran's shadow banking networks. Now, while this builds on past American pressure, the latest move marks an escalation on Washington's maximum pressure campaign on Iran. This forces India to weigh its strategic port project against financial risk and its prized US partnership. The decision will have immediate consequences for Afghanistan as well and have longer-term ripple effects across the region. Let's recap a bit. In 2016, India, Iran and Afghanistan signed a transit pact to develop the Chabahar port, Iran's only oceanic outlet with direct access to Indian Ocean. Strategically located just 170 kilometers from Pakistan's Chinese-built Gwadar port, Chabahar was India's gateway to Afghanistan and the rest of Central Asia, bypassing Pakistan and linking into the International North-South Transport Corridor or the INSTC. India has invested heavily. Its state-run operator IPGL took over port operations in 2018 and in May 2024 last year signed a 10-year deal worth $120 million plus a $250 million credit line. Since operations began, Chabahar has handled more than 450 vessels and 8.7 million tons of cargo, a tangible anchor for India's West Asia strategy. Now, on September 16th this year, the US Treasury paid two moves. Firstly, it sanctioned shadow banking networks moving oil money into Iran's military programs. This included crypto-linked laundering operations via Hong Kong and UAE fronts. Secondly, it has scrapped the 2018 Chabahar waiver. Now, what is this waiver all about? It is a narrow exemption carved out to let India use the port as Afghanistan's lifeline for trade and aid despite wider US sanctions on Iran. Its removal now brings all port activity, even humanitarian shipments, under the shadow of these US penalties. Now, with the waiver gone, effective September 29 this year, anyone involved in Chabahar, whether it is port operators, banks or insurers, everyone faces penalties under the Iran Freedom and Counter-Proliferation Act. For India, it harbors major financial risk. Banks and insurers tied to the US will reprice or they will have to pull back, driving up costs for port operations and financing. It also involves a strategic setback, as Chabahar was India's flagship counter to Gwadar and a key node to Central Asia. Losing it strengthens China's hand under the CPEC. Now, Delhi must choose between lobbying for a carve-out, slowing its involvement, or accepting higher risk outside US-linked channels. For Afghanistan, Chabahar gave Kabul an alternative to Karachi, allowing wheat and humanitarian shipments to come from India. These disruptions raise trade costs and squeeze economic lifelines for a country that is already under immense stress. Coming to Iran, Tehran loses a rare channel for legitimate foreign investment. Iran's fiat currency, the rial, is already collapsing and is now facing more strain. Politically, Iran will lean harder on China or Russia for cover. Now, what is US leverage? Sanctions remain a flexible tool, not just to squeeze Tehran but to shape third-party choices. Here, primarily, these are India and Afghanistan. For New Delhi, it creates friction with Washington, a sharp irritant but not a rupture as of now. India will likely press for carve-outs while the US double downs on compliance, testing India's strategic autonomy. Regionally, China and Russia are poised to exploit this gap, financing Iran, offering alternate corridors and pulling India towards their own orbit. For Iran, pressure accelerates its pivot to Eurasian partners, further eroding any Western leverage. The revocation of the sanction waiver may be legally narrow, but geopolitically it is wide. It raises costs for India's outreach to Central Asia, it pressures Kabul's fragile trade routes, and it deepens Tehran's Eurasian pivot. The speed and skill of India-US diplomacy will decide whether this remains a tactical setback or a lasting strategic constraint. How quickly both the sides will manage negotiation remains to be seen. That is all from us today. This is Garima, and you are watching the Asian Chronicle.